Thank you very much, Deborah. You're all expecting to see somebody who's taller than me at this point. But I do want to just put this into some perspective for you, because although I'm extraordinarily grateful to the Hope Funds for this award tonight, this really is representative and emblematic of what we're all doing here tonight. And I'll just put it into my personal story, but I do want to stress right from the outset that in order to make progress in cancer, it is a partnership. It's a partnership from people like many of the academic investigators, industry and biotech, and Millennium Takeda and Deborah Dunshire are highest on that list, the regulators, the funders of research otherwise, Hope Fund, and most importantly, the patients. But I'll share with you, and this might be a message mostly for the new fellows, but when I was in your shoes, which was a long time ago, starting in medical school 38 years ago, I actually found a role model. My first teacher ever was a myeloma doctor, and that's for sure why I'm doing myeloma today. And he taught me two lessons that I think are so important. He said, make science count for patients, and that's a good message for the new fellows. And then treat patients as family. And if you remember those two tenets, you'll never go wrong. And I think it's fair to say that if we wanted to summarize the goals of why we're all here and why we want to see the new generation succeed, it's to do those two things. I've been very blessed in my life. I've had a number of good teachers. I've had extraordinary colleagues, George Dimitri among them, who's here tonight. And I've been extraordinarily lucky to have, as Deborah affectionately referred to it, and I do too, the United Nations Against Myeloma. I've had students that have come from all over the world and come and studied with us in Boston, and who have gone on now to be the leaders all around the world, not only in the United States, but everywhere. And the beauty of that, and why I say that, is the Hope Fund is funding young investigators. This is what's happened to me. These young investigators, which you're starting to fund now for 4 and 5 years, they go out and they're the new generation of the war on cancer internationally. And those of us who are getting on like a fine wine, our vintage is improving, we're getting a little older, we maintain these relationships with these young people, both in terms of preclinical laboratory and clinical collaborations, but also we treasure these personal friendships for life. And honestly, cancer is an incredible foe. When it comes to cancer, the Red Sox and Yankees are on the same team. I'm a big Red Sox fan. I know that's not appropriate to say here, but I can tell you that if we work together and collaborate, progress happens. And the example that I'll just mention is my own. When I started out in research, myeloma was virtually untreatable and people died in a couple of months. My interest, as Bob Weinberg's been over the years, is to think about the microenvironment. Putting it in plain English, think about the neighborhood in which cancer grows. The cancer I work on, myeloma, grows in the bone marrow, breast cancer in the breast, vein in the brain. Why? What is it that allows those cells to grow? What allows them to grow, survive, and resist drugs that we try to use to treat that cancer? And when you understand, to at least some extent, the mechanisms that confer that advantage to the evil myeloma cell, and you think about the treatments that can overcome those advantages, that's the new generation of therapies. And working together with Millennium Takeda and Deborah Dunshire and her colleagues, the proteasome inhibitor bortezomib in 2003 was just like that. It was not hard to tell. The first patient treated with that medicine went into a complete response. It's extraordinary. And what's happened in my lifetime is the disease has gone from untreatable to treatable with a drug like bortezomib to now combinations of targeted treatments where every single patient we treat responds. Half of them get complete responses. And I saw a new patient yesterday afternoon is the most recent one, and I can look them in the eye and tell them they're going to live 10 years at least, And if we're all in this room on their team, they're going to live much longer. But truthfully, I just want to express what my feeling is about the Hope Funds. The best reward you can have as a cancer researcher, as a caregiver, as someone who works in the corporate world, or any of you here tonight, is to give the gift of hope and the gift of life to patients with cancer. And I can tell you, by funding young investigators, you're giving the hope to them to pursue their dreams, and those dreams for sure will deliver on the hope for the patients. Thank you ever so much.